I'm Tommy Colboth. I'm the principal at Washington Elementary School, and it is a pleasure to be here. I get to lead the greatest staff and students ever assembled on a daily basis. I want to talk to you about relationships fueling success. And if you'll notice the quote there, it's Michael Bonner, and he talks about how you can't demand a withdrawal from someone who you've never invested in. And I want you to keep this quote in the back of your mind as we walk through this. So over the last 9 or so years, we've had some success at Washington Elementary School. We were a national distinguished school, one of 2 in the state of Illinois, one of 67 nationwide. We got a chance to go to Kansas City. We presented at the Chicago State Conference, and it was a career-defining achievement for a lot of our staff members. So going through an experience like that, you can't help but self-reflect and try and catch that lightning in a bottle. So you can kind of continue to replicate the process and continue to move forward. And for us, it all just boiled down to relationships. And according to Collins Dictionary, relationships can be defined as the way 2 things are connected, linked, associated, or bonded together. And as much as we roll our eyes at another person up here talking about relationships, it really is the lifeblood of what we do on a daily basis. As administrators in 2021, I'm here to tell you nothing is more important. I'm here to remind you, because you already know this, nothing is more important as building and cultivating relationships. At Washington, we adopted a connection over content mantra as students have returned to us over the last 1.5 years. And as they arrived back in our classrooms, we noticed even greater deficiencies in soft skills such as lack of communication skills and the inability to express themselves appropriately. And even though much of our focus has been on our students during this time, many of the same needs are evident in our teachers as well. The majority of teachers I know are absolutely drowning right now. I live with one, so I get to see this on multiple angles. So what can the people in this room do to help? What can we do to continue to lead and support the staff we love so they can continue to have a positive impact on our students? Let's talk about some things we can do sitting in your chair right now or on the drive home. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to burn some fuel. And think about this. We burn all kinds of fuel to power the things in our lives, from the food we eat that fuels our bodies to the nuclear power plants used to power entire cities. So in this analogy today, the fuel is equivalent to the types of strategies that we use in our own buildings. And I want to focus on 3 types of fuel in particular. Kerosene, which in past days would simply be used to dimly light a room. Gasoline, which is readily available and used to power many things in our lives. And rocket fuel, which literally sends humongous canisters into space, which we'll talk about later. We can start by burning some kerosene. This is the most basic fuel of the 3 I mentioned, and it's known for its use in lamps and lanterns and even kerosene heaters. I'm talking about things that are simple to accomplish with very little extra time and no resources. They simply need us to be sincere and support them. These are the little things you do on a regular basis. So I have a couple challenges for us to take home and implement today. Number 1, make face-to-face contact with each teacher before and after school each and every day. Ask them before school, what are they most looking forward to that day? And then whenever you circle back at the end of the day, follow up and say, hey, what was the best thing that happened to you today in your classroom? And number 2, make sure you know who they are outside of school. If you have a large school with a large staff, make sure you're keeping notes and you follow up on those conversations that you had. And as we move from kerosene on to gasoline, we know that gasoline is very common and it fuels many things from vehicles to weed eaters and everything in between. And as principals in 2021, we have to burn some gasoline. And by burning gasoline, I'm referring to those things we do for our staff that make them feel good. They feel appreciated. Those are tied to emotions. They take effort and planning, and that translates to building and strengthening those relationships with teachers as they see you making the extra effort for them. So 2 ideas or challenges to take home and implement today. Number 1, call a local restaurant on your way home and schedule a lunch for them, for your staff, and not Subway, not another deli sandwich. Nobody likes those. You know that. Partner with your social worker and coordinate with your parents to create a brag book about each of your teachers. Watch the happy tears fall down those faces. And then one of the most powerful fuels on earth is rocket fuel. It's used to send 4 million-pound spaceships at speeds of over 17,000 miles into outer space. Seriously powerful stuff. And we need to burn some of that for our teachers. So what can we do to have the absolute highest impact for our teachers? These actions are beyond those surface-based or feelings-based that we mentioned before, but these are application-based actions. So here's 3 challenges. Number one, most teachers will tell you that they need extra time more than anything. We all agree on that. So do it. Give them an extra prep period by covering their class or taking a grade level out for an extra recess or elementary PE. Most teachers will tell you that they use extra hands in the room. Advocate with your superintendent like we did at Washington this year in Marion Unit 2 and place a permanent sub and an aide in those primary classrooms or those traditional hotspots. And then number three, maybe most important, give permission and empower them to slow down, adjust their pacing guides, and adjust to this new normal, adjust to the new students that they have in these rooms. These are like rocket fuel because they go beyond making them feel good. These things allow them to be better teachers and make their jobs more enjoyable. So as we know, a happier teacher is a more successful teacher. And we also know from research that principals strongly and directly affect teachers' attitudes. This isn't rocket science. Get out there and let's start burning some fuel to power those relationships.